Hi, Graydon Hornets. Today I'm going to show you how to make kind of a long project of a school lunch. This may be one of the few things about Graydon that you're missing right now. Going to the cafeteria with your friends and ordering a hot lunch and the chicken nugget day song. So we're going to collage this school lunch using paper. I used oil pastels, but you can use crayons or markers. I did use some construction paper, but you don't have to. And also some watercolors. And again, if you don't have paint, you can substitute other things. So I'll show you how to do this. So the first thing we are going to do is make our hands. And I've got a large piece of construction paper to use as my background. This is a 12 by 18 inch paper. You can use any kind of paper for your background. So if you don't have a large piece of construction paper, you could even use wrapping paper or newspaper, whatever you've got laying around your house. And then I've got two small pieces of paper and a little stack of construction paper, which again, if you don't have colored paper, you could paint your own paper or color your own paper to make different colors. You could cut papers out of magazines, lots of different things you could use. So the first thing I'm going to do on one of my smaller white pieces of paper is trace my hands, but I'm going to trace them upside down. So I'm going to get a little, sorry guys, that's my dog. He wants to go out. We are gonna trace our hands upside down, and you might have an adult help you with this part. I wanna try to get as much of my wrist in here as I can. And I wanna do the same thing for my other hand, and I'm gonna flip my paper over. So my hands are almost too big to both fit. Yours will be smaller, so you'll have plenty of room. And this is good practice drawing with my left hand here, because I'm right-handed. All right. Ooh. I'm gonna fix my thumb there a little. It got a little off. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is paint my hands using watercolors, and then I'm gonna add some detail. While my hands are drying, I'm going to sketch out my lunch tray. And I'm going to use this whole piece of paper, but I want to make the edges rounded a little bit. So I'm going to draw straight lines along the sides, but then curved lines in the corners to make a rectangle with curved corners. And then I'm going to sketch in the different compartments on my tray. So I'm going to make 3 equal-sized squares in this top row, and then 2 larger rectangles in the bottom. And when I draw them, I'm going to make them just like my large rectangle shape, rounded on the corners, but straight on the sides. And I'm going to leave space between all of them. I do not want them to touch. And there's my 3 top. And on the bottom, I'm going to make them a little wider, so it's a rectangle. And leave space between them again. Now I'm going to paint my tray again with watercolor, but this time I'm going to make a slightly lighter color in here, and then create shadows inside the tray compartments to make it look a little bit 3D. Now while my lunch tray is drying, I'm going to add some details to my hands. And I am drawing the bottoms of my hands like this with my palms out. So I'm going to draw in some of the lines and wrinkles on my hand. And this is a great way to practice drawing from observation. You can hold your own hands out and draw the lines you see on your hands, the creases in your skin. And then I'm also going to add you can add watches, bracelets, or other things to your wrist just to make it a little more interesting. Okay, so next I'm going to start creating the food that's going to go in each one of my compartments here on my lunch tray. And I'm going to cut and glue each one of my food options from construction paper. But I would encourage you to draw them on the construction paper first. You can kind of hold your construction paper over the area where you're going to glue it in, and then cut and glue all of the pieces on. And if you don't want to build your food items by collaging colored papers, you could also draw them, cut them out, and glue them on, or even cut pictures out of a magazine with food in it, or out of grocery ads, and glue those on instead. All right, now it's time for me to cut out my lunch tray, cut out my hands, and put my artwork together.